They will size you up before they even know your name. They'll decide your worth before you say a single word. And if you don't define your value, they'll discount it. Every single time. Let me be clear. The world doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you demand. So if you're tired of being overlooked, underestimated, or treated like you're optional, this right here is your wake-up call. Let's talk about what you must dog before they write your story for you. People will treat you based on story you tell about yourself, even when you don't say a single word. Your body language, your choices, your tone, and your habits, they're all screaming something. And the hard truth is this: if you present yourself like you're second tier, you'll be treated like leftovers. We live in a world that's quick to assign value to people based on surface, based on noise, based on perception. But if you don't step up and define your value with confidence and clarity, they will define it for you. And trust me, they'll mark you down. You have to decide from the inside out that you're not for sale at a discount. That your time, your energy, your mind, your presence carry a price. A high one, because they do. The problem is, most people spend years trying to earn validation when what they really need to do is set their price and make it known. Think about, have you ever walked into a luxury store, picked up an item with no price tag, and asked for a discount? No. You either respect its worth or you walk away. That's the mindset you need to live with. You don't lower yourself to meet others' expectations. You elevate your energy so that they rise to yours, or exit your space. When you treat yourself like something valuable, others don't dare to devalue you. It starts with your posture. It starts with your choices. It starts with the way you speak about yourself, even when no one is watching. Especially when no one is watching. What you allow is what will continue. If you tolerate disrespect, you'll keep getting it. If you tolerate underpayment, you'll keep getting it. If you tolerate emotional crumbs, that's all you'll be served. You need to draw the line with yourself first, long before anyone else ever tries to cross it. Too many people expect the world to reward their quiet suffering. But that's not how life works. The world rewards clarity, certainty, conviction. It rewards people who walk into rooms knowing exactly who they are and what they bring. And that kind of power doesn't come from pretending. It comes from doing the work behind closed doors, from developing your skills, from sharpening your edge, from mastering your craft, from becoming so damn good they can't ignore you, even if they try. This isn't about arrogance. It's about ownership. There's a big difference. Arrogance is loud and hollow. Ownership is silent but undeniable. When you own your value, you don't have to flex it. You are it. And that makes people pause. It makes them question how they've been operating. Because you become the exception to the rule. You stand out, not because you scream, but because your presence says what your words don't need to. And that kind of presence is magnetic. It draws in opportunities, respect, and people who want to match your level, not drag you down to theirs. But it begins with setting the tone, with being intentional about what you accept, what you demand, and what you stand for. You have to remember, the first sale you ever make is to yourself. You can't sell the world on your worth if you haven't convinced yourself first. Every decision you make sends a message. How you show up, how you treat yourself, how you let others treat you. It's a signal to the world that says, this is how I see myself. Act accordingly. So if you keep accepting less, if you keep lowering your standards, if you keep making yourself small so others can feel big, guess what? They'll believe that's all you deserve. And the longer you do it, the harder it gets to undo. That's why this shift has to happen now. Not tomorrow, now. And here's the kicker. When you start setting your value ruthlessly, people will push back. They'll call you difficult. They'll say you've changed. They'll try to guilt you, manipulate you, make you feel like you're asking for too much. But understand this, they're not too much. They're just not enough. Not for this version of you. The one who knows what she brings. The one who doesn't need to be liked to feel powerful. The one who has finally realized that being chosen is never the goal. Choosing yourself is. And once you start doing that, the entire game changes. Stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided not to understand you. Let that sink in. Let it sink in. You've spent far too long trying to convince the wrong audience. People who've never clapped for you. People who reduce you to what they comprehend. You bend. You over-explain. You perform mental gymnastics, trying to justify your choices, your goals, your path. For what? Approval, validation, acceptance. No. That's not your job. You were never meant to prove yourself to small minds with limited vision. You were meant to demonstrate, not explain. You were meant to live so loudly in your purpose that the world has no choice but to take notice. Even the ones who doubted you from the start. You don't need to beg people to see your value. You need to become so impactful, so focused, so unshakably excellent that their opinion becomes irrelevant. You want to know what power looks like? It's when you stop trying to be understood and start making results do the talking. Because when results show up, explanations exit. Your growth will speak for itself. Your elevation will silence the noise. You want to change how people treat you. Don't argue. Don't debate. Upgrade. Upgrade your actions. Upgrade your standards. Upgrade your presence. Show up differently. Speak with clarity. Move with purpose. Let people feel the shift without you having to narrate it. Understand this. Words are cheap. Presence is priceless. It's not about having the loudest voice in the room. It's about having the strongest presence. You ever seen someone walk into a space and instantly change the atmosphere? That's not magic. That's alignment. That's a person who doesn't just talk value. They live it. They carry it in their tone, in their posture, in the way they handle both adversity and success. They don't explain themselves because they've become the evidence. That's what you need to becoming living proof. Not a theory, not a potential. Proof. That's how you flip the script. From chasing recognition to attracting it. Every time you shrink yourself to avoid discomfort, you dilute your power. Every time you explain your vision to people who've never done what you're doing, you waste oxygen. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Not everyone is equipped to understand your mission. And that's okay. Let them think what they want. Let them misinterpret you. Let them doubt. You're not here to babysit their assumptions. You're here to build, to execute, to evolve. That's your focus. That's your lane. Stay in it. Because when you're locked in on your purpose, explanations become distractions. And you don't have time to slow down for the comfort of others. There is a level of silence that speaks volumes. A level of performance that makes all explanations obsolete. You want to really shake people. Stop defending your worth and start owning it. Walk into rooms like you belong there. Even if your knees are shaking, speak like you know your voice matters. Even if your heart is pounding. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need to believe in yourself loudly enough that it drowns out their doubt. And when your belief turns into consistent, visible action, you become unstoppable. Because now, you're not just telling them, you're showing them. That's what separates noise from power. That's what commands respect without ever asking for it. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about proving your worth to others. It's about owning it so deeply that they either rise to meet you or fall out of your orbit. When you stop explaining and start demonstrating, your circle changes, your energy changes, your life changes. You stop attracting people who need you to justify yourself and start attracting people who already get it, who speak your language, who match your fire. And that's when you're realizing you were never too much. You were simply trying to shine in spaces too dim to hold your light. But not anymore. Now you lead with action. You show, not tell. You move, not beg. And the world adjusts accordingly. People will always test the limits of what you allow. That's human nature. The moment you give too much access without boundaries, you invite disrespect. And it doesn't always look like aggression. It can come in soft, subtle forms, harmless. Joke that cuts too deep. A request that drains your energy. A favor that assumes your time is free. You tolerate it once, maybe twice. You tell yourself, it's not a big deal. But here's the truth. Every time you let it slide, you lower your worth in their eyes. Not because they're cruel, but because they're responding to the standards you set. You teach people how to treat you, whether you're conscious of it or not. And if your boundaries are weak, so is the respect you'll receive. Boundaries are not selfish. Let's kill that lie right now. Boundaries are the highest form of self-respect. They are how you protect your time, your peace, your energy, and your growth. If you don't draw that line, someone else will draw it for you. And they'll draw it in a way that benefits them, not you. You've got to stop apologizing for needing space, for saying no, for walking away when something doesn't serve you. Saying no is not rejection. It's redirection. It's choosing to invest your energy where it builds you, not where it bleeds you. It's not your job to make everyone comfortable at your own expense. You are not a machine built to please. You are a force, and that force needs protection. Too often, we confuse kindness with availability. But listen carefully. Being kind does not mean being accessible to everyone, all the time for anything. You are allowed to be unavailable. You are allowed to go silent. You are allowed to protect your time like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Your mental health, your ambition, your purpose. They all depend on the boundaries you set. Don't let people guilt trip you into constant access. You are not their emotional support system. You are not a 247 help desk. You are building something. And anything that distracts from that, anything that drains you, anything that disrupts your peace, that has to go. Enforcing boundaries isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's just you choosing not to respond, choosing not to explain, choosing to exit a conversation that no longer aligns with your values. Let your silence speak volumes. Let your absence be felt. Let them wonder why you're no longer as available as you used to be. That's not petty. It's powerful. Because once you stop overextending yourself, once you stop saying, "Ah yes," out of guilt, you reclaim a part of your identity that's been leaking away. You start showing up for you instead of performing for them. And that shift, that's when your life starts to elevate. Let's talk about the discomfort. Yes, when you start setting boundaries, people will push back. They'll call you distant. They'll accuse you of changing. They'll try to make you feel selfish. That's normal. Why? Because you've disrupted a pattern that benefited them. They were comfortable with the old version of you. The one who overgave, overexplained, overcommitted. But now you're evolving. And growth demands space. Not everyone will grow with you. Not everyone can. And that's okay. You don't need to carry everyone across the finish line. Some people were only meant to watch you run. Stop slowing down so they can keep up. Here's the final truth about boundaries. They aren't walls to keep the world out. They're gates to let the right people in. The ones who respect your time. The ones who add to your energy, not drain it. The ones who honor your no, just as much as they celebrate your highs. Boundaries filter out what doesn't align so you can make room for what truly does. And once you live this way, something incredible happens. Your life gets quieter, but your peace gets louder. Your circle gets smaller, but your power expands. You stop surviving chaos and start building legacy. And it all begins the moment you deciding, I will no longer tolerate what diminishes me. There's a moment, critical, defining, when you realize your power doesn't come from what you hold on to, but from what you're finally willing to walk away from. That moment changes everything. See, most people stay stuck in places they've outgrown because they're scared. Scared of being alone. Scared of starting over. Scared of what others might think. So they stay in dead-end jobs, toxic friendships, draining relationships, roles that suffocate them. All because they fear the unknown. But here's the true thing, if it's costing your peace, it's already too expensive. If something is shrinking you, silencing you, or forcing you to compromise your worth, you don't fix it. You exit. Walking away isn't weakness. It's strength. And not everyone has it. Sometimes the most powerful move you'll ever make is no move at all. Just turning your back and walking away without noise, without drama, without explanation. Because when you truly value yourself, you don't beg for spaces that don't honor you. You don't argue for your worth. You don't fight to be seen. You withdraw. Quietly. They're not magic. With dignity. Because the loudest declaration of power is the one you don't have to make. It's the silence that's saying, I don't belong here anymore. When you get that place where you'd rather walk alone than stay somewhere that shrinks you, that's when you finally step into your truth. Here's what they don't tell you: letting go will hurt. But staying will destroy you. Staying in a place that devalues you chips away at your soul. It erodes your identity. You start to question yourself. You begin to doubt your instincts. You silence your voice just to keep the peace, not realizing that the peace you're protecting is fake, manufactured, temporary. But the pain of walking away, that pain is honest. It's the price of growth, and it leads somewhere. It pushes you, it refines you. It clears space for something real, something aligned, something worthy of the person you're becoming. And if you can sit with that pain long enough to understand it, you'll never settle again. We live in a culture that romanticizes endurance. Stick it out. Ride the wave. Don't quit. But there's a difference between perseverance and self-betrayal. Staying in environments that dishonor you isn't noble. It's toxic. You're not supposed to survive your life. You're supposed to live it. And you can't fully live in rooms that require you to suppress your fire. Your evolution will make people uncomfortable. Your standards will make you too much. For some, let them be uncomfortable. Let them leave. Because your destiny is not up for discussion. And your worth is not up for negotiation. They're not magic. Sometimes you have to walk away not because they're bad people, but because you're done settling for less than your full potential. You will be misunderstood. You will be called cold, lose people, but you will gain yourself. And that trade-off, that's the one that changes everything. Because when you start choosing yourself, radically, unapologetically, life starts aligning. You attract different energy, different rooms, different opportunities. And it's not magic, it's math. It's what happens when you clear out what's draining you and make space for what fuels you. The decision to walk away is the spark, but the transformation is in what comes after. It's in who you become when you finally stop begging for scraps and start building your own damn table. So, let's be clear. Walking away isn't quitting. Quitting is giving up. Walking away is leveling up. It's reclaiming your narrative. It's saying, I refuse to shrink for comfort. I refuse to stay where I'm not valued. I refuse to betray myself for the illusion of belonging. That level of self-respect, it's rare. And it's revolutionary. Because most people would rather stay tolerated than risk being alone. But not you. Not anymore. You've tasted your own power now. And once you do, there's no going back. You don't chase, you don't beg, you release. And in that release, you rise. You can have the titles, the followers, the money, the admiration. But if you're hollow on the inside, none of it will feel like enough. You'll keep chasing things that look like success, hoping they'll finally quiet the noise in your head. But here's the truth most people run from. If you don't fix your internal world, no external win will ever satisfy you. You'll wake up in rooms you prayed to be in, and still feel like an imposter. You'll accomplish goals and wonder why the emptiness doesn't leave. That's because confidence isn't built through applause. It's built in silence. In those private, uncomfortable moments when no one is watching and you choose to do the hard work anyway. That's where the unshakable version of you is born. You see, too many people try to borrow confidence from achievements, relationships, attention. They lean on compliments and praise like a crutch. But confidence that's borrowed is fragile. It breaks the moment someone questions it. Real confidence, that's internal infrastructure. It's built slowly, deliberately, through discipline, through integrity, through doing the things you said you'd do, long after the mood you made the promise in has passed. It's in the quiet hours, when you get up early to train, when you study while others sleep, when you keep your word even when no one would know if you didn't. Those moments aren't glamorous, but they're what forge you. And what's forged in private becomes unbreakable in public. This is the season of inner mastery. No more outsourcing your self-worth. No more waiting for someone to tell you're good enough. You tell yourself. Every day, you show up like your name already holds weight, like your presence already matters. Because it does. And not because someone validated it, but because you did. And you didn't just say it, you backed it with action. You built it through choices. And it's in those choices, stacked, consistent, intentional, that your identity shifts. Suddenly you're no longer performing, you're embodying. You become the standard you once hoped someone else would give you permission to reach. Your confidence can't come from a mirror. It can't come from someone clapping for you. It must come from how deeply you know your own power. Even when no one else sees it, especially when no one else sees it. Because if you only feel valuable when others tell you so, you're handing them the remote control to your self-esteem. And the moment they turn it off, you collapse. That's not power. That's dependency. You need to build a foundation so solid that people's opinions become irrelevant. Let them praise you. Let them doubt you. Either way, you're unmoved. Because you know who you are and know that kind of internal clarity. It terrifies people who rely on external approval to survive. This is also where most people break, because this kind of self-trust requires solitude. It requires silence. It requires you get real with yourself about your fears, your flaws, your insecurities. And that's uncomfortable. That's why people distract themselves with noise, with scrolling, with drinking, with overworking. Because sitting alone with your truth takes courage. But that's also where your edge is. That's where you become untouchable. Because when you've already battled your own demons and chosen to rise anyway, what can they take from you? What insult can stick? What rejection can break you? None. You've already built immunity. And that's not ego. That's inner peace. When your confidence comes from your core, you don't chase. You attract. You walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere. You stop over-explaining. You stop justifying. You move like you know the value you bring. And you carry that energy into your relationships, your work, your life. People feel it. They respond to it. Because confidence Real confidence is magnetic, but it only exists when your inner world is aligned. So stop looking for it in the eyes of others. Stop waiting for the world to mirror something you haven't yet claimed within yourself. Go inward. Do the work. Build the foundation. Because once you do, you become the source, and no one can take that from you. You don't get respect by existing. You get it by owning the space you take up. There is a massive difference between entering a room and commanding it. One is passive. The other is intentional. Too many people shrink themselves before they even cross the threshold. They lead with apologies. Apologizing for their voice, their ambition, their presence. And in doing so, they teach the room to overlook them. But listen closely, your presence should be a statement, not a question, not a whisper, a declaration. You don't have to be the loudest in the room to own it. But you do have to walk in like you belong. Even when you're unsure, even when you're still building, you act like you're meant to be there. Because you are. Stop waiting for permission to stand tall. That posture, it matters. How you walk, how you speak, how you sit. These are not small details. They are signals. You either carry yourself like you're ready for the opportunity, or like you're still asking for approval, and the world responds accordingly. When you walk in with presence, people notice, even if they don't understand why. That's energy. That's intention. It's built through repetition, through choice, through practice. So don't just prepare for the room. Prepare yourself to own it. When you walk in, your energy should arrive 5 seconds before you do. Your vibe should say, I'm not here to take space. I'm here to change it. This doesn't mean being arrogant. Presence isn't arrogance. It's awareness. It's knowing what you bring to the table and not dimming it to make others comfortable. It's being grounded, not loud. Clear, not forceful. Strong, not defensive. Real presence doesn't need to prove itself. It's felt. It's in your stillness. It's in your words. It's in your ability to pause, look someone in the eye, and speak truth without trembling. That kind of presence comes from clarity. Knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you're no longer willing to tolerate. It's a quiet power, but it echoes louder than any performance. And it demands respect without ever asking for it. But let's be real, presence is not just about how you look. It's how you live. It's the consistency between who you are in public and who you are in private. It's your alignment, your habits, your discipline, your choices when no one's watching. Because eventually, all of it shows. Your presence becomes a reflection of the work you've done, or the shortcuts you've taken. And people can feel that. They might not be able to name it, but they'll sense it. That's why true presence is built in the quiet, not on the stage. The gym, the journal, the books, the mindset, the decisions, that's where it's born. When you've done the inner work, the outer world has no choice but to shift in response. You don't need to be loud to be unforgettable. You just need to be aligned. They're not magic. When your energy, your intention, your voice, and your values are in harmony, people feel it. That's when you walk into a room, and suddenly the atmosphere changes. People adjust their tone. They lean in when you speak. They notice. Because there's something different about someone who knows who they are. Someone who moves with purpose. Someone who doesn't rush to fill the silence. Because they're not afraid of it. That's presence. That's what makes you memorable without trying. And when you can hold that energy consistently, you stop being just another face in the crowd. You become a force. So no, this isn't about impressing people. It's about impacting them. It's about showing up so rooted in your power that others start to question why they've been dimming theirs. You become a mirror, a wake-up call, a reminder that real strength doesn't scream. It stands tall. You're not chasing applause. You're not hoping to be liked. You're choosing to be respected, to be felt, to be remembered, not for the noise you made, but for the energy you carried. Your presence becomes legacy, and that doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you're deciding, I am the standard, and you show up every day like that. Truth is non-negotiable. So let them judge, let them whisper. Let them wonder how you suddenly became untouchable. You don't owe anyone comfort in your evolution. You owe yourself freedom. Freedom from being overlooked. Freedom from needing permission. Freedom from shrinking, explaining, and settling. Because now, you see it. The power isn't in how they see you. It's in how you see yourself and how you move because of it. From this moment forward, you don't ask for respect. You embody it. You don't chase approval. You own your value. You don't lower your worth. You set it. You become the force, the standard, the presence. And anyone who can't rise to meet it gets left behind. Not out of pride, but out of purpose, because they will devalue you. Unless you decide, boldly and permanently, to never devalue yourself again. This is your time. Stand up, step forward, and never shrink again.